You had some success in sports.
Yep.
And a potential real career there. I'm wondering if before that wrist injury, for those that don't know Lewis's story, break your wrist and it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that's like. I loved playing sports growing up, but I never had a future. You know what I mean?
Right?
What is it like? What was that like emotionally when, again, your future is, it's another shift for you?
Well, I think anytime you put your self-worth on your identity on something you're doing in life, and that thing gets crushed, or you lose the job, or the marriage goes through, whatever.
Yeah.
Your life starts to crumble because that's your identity. You put all your value and your self-worth in this thing that you were once doing and once good at, or once people identified you as, and now it's over. So my self-worth was over. And I also already had a false sense of self-worth because I had a cocky ego that was like, I can do anything in sports. But inside, I didn't have the vulnerability or the ability to sit with my emotions. It was anger, it was resentment, it was rage, and let me fuel this into accomplishment. Let me will my success and prove people wrong. And I think anytime we're creating from a space of proving others wrong, doing it out of a sense of hurtness to get back or to prove something, you're not creating from a beautiful state, a beautiful energetic state. And therefore, you'll always be left with some sense of frustration. And for me, it was devastating because my identity was wrapped in sports and pursuing this dream. When that was done, I went back to, well, what is my worth? I have no value, and I don't understand the world. At that time, I didn't graduate college. I was just a few credits shy. It was 2007, 8, and 9, that time frame. The economy was kind of crashing, the housing crisis. And I was living on my sister's couch for a year and a half. And I was again, financially bankrupt and spiritually bankrupt because I put my value on an identity that was broken. And so now I had to figure out, who am I? Why am I alive? What's the point of this life? Why am I here? I don't have my dad as a backup anymore. My sister's taking care of me for a period of time, but eventually she's like, you either got to pay rent or you got to get out. And in a loving way, she let me stay for a year and a half rent-free.
Wow.
But that was one of the greatest things that someone could have done for me is she was like, you got to leave or you got to pay. I'm not going to baby you anymore. I was a 25-year-old man, right? It's like, and that, you know, I did what any younger brother would do. I went to my older brother and said, hey, can I stay at your place for free? And he was like, you need to pay $250 a month. And for me, that felt like all the money in the world at that time. But it got me thinking in a different way, and it made me focus on, I have to be so courageous to ask for money. I have to develop skills. I have to overcome fears and put myself out there and start creating possibilities. And so I'm finding mentors. I'm leaning on people that I can learn from, people who've already created something that I was inspired by. And I'm trying to get coaching. I'm trying to get coaching on how to overcome my fears and develop skills that could be monetizable.
I'm curious, because your story is so inspiring. I'm curious some of the darkest thoughts that you had. Because we're hearing the positive, Lewis, because you truly are.
When I was a kid, yeah.
You had some tough stuff.
I would get sent to the principal's office often. And one of the reasons was because I was a good kid in my heart, but I behaved poorly. And I would cheat, and I would steal, and I would lie, right? So I would cheat on homework, I would cheat on tests, and I was really good at not getting caught most of the time. But I would get caught sometimes in school. And every time I get sent to the principals, I just say, I wish I were dead. I would just say it over and over again, just kind of like it was nothing. I don't want to be here. I wish I were dead. So I would say these things out loud, and I would speak these things out loud. And whenever we speak something into existence, if we aren't able to catch ourselves or someone's not able to be an interruption to supporting us, to getting back on track, we will bring this into fruition in some way. Maybe not death, but something will cause a lot of pain in our life.
Did that manifest for you that way?
Yeah, I never thought about like actually hurting myself in that way, but I lived with darkness inside of me most of my childhood. Yeah. And so it felt like death inside of me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, my body or my brain never went there physically.
Yeah.
But it was a constant beat up, a constant insecurity, a constant, you're an idiot, you're dumb, you're not enough, self-talk. And that self-talk is very lonely feeling.
It's so powerful.
When you don't have, even if you have everyone else around you saying, we love you, you're amazing, you're powerful, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter if the world is speaking positivity into you, if you're speaking negativity
So
and you
true.
don't believe it and receive it.
Oh, I've said it a million times. We are the voice we listen to most.
Exactly. And so that loneliness is a lack of healing, a lack of wholeness. And when we're chasing something or we're running away from something, we're not able to confront the thing that is causing us the most pain.
Yeah.
We're trying to avoid the pain.
Yeah.
And for years, when I hit 30, I had all these moments in my life and relationships and business and friendships that were falling apart. And for a long time, I could get away with success or the money I was making as a mask. But then when everything started to fall apart 12 years ago, I was like, oh, I'm the person at the root of all of these relationships. And so let me start to reflect and see, why is my ego driving my life into the ground when I thought it was accomplishing the results?
Yeah.
And that's when the healing journey and the self-reflection and the true, and it didn't happen overnight, but the journey of healing. And
how much therapy did you do?
I've done a lot of it. And I still do it today, not because I think I need it, because I want to prevent it from happening in the future.
I love preventative maintenance,
So, once every 2 months, I'll do a session. And I'm talking to my coach about, what do the 50, 60, 70-year-old men that you coach struggle with? What are the big problems that they cause?
Yeah.
They have affairs, they do this, they do that, they don't take care of their health. And so there's a lot of these other challenges. So I'm thinking preventative emotional care.
Right.
And how can I stay on top of my mindset, my emotions, and just making sure I'm staying in alignment? It's more of like maintenance.
Love that.